Is the modern day India equal to males or females or not? Let's try to find out. Now, very recently, the Honorable Supreme Court of India has flagged a systematic gender bias in promotions and medical fitness evaluations of women officers, while upholding the right to permanent commission and pensionary benefits across the armed forces in our country. Now, let's understand the key highlight of this Honorable Supreme Court of India's judgment. First of all, the Supreme Court of India highlighted systematic bias. They said that annual confidential reports (ACRs) of short service commission women officers were casually graded, often given average scores due to the assumption of no long-term career. Women faced historical low grading, while male officers received higher informal advantages. That is first. Second, limited career growth. Women were denied training and career-enhancing opportunities, leading to a weaker service profile. Now, constitutional mandate says that inclusion of women for a permanent commission is a constitutional obligation, ensuring equality and dignity. Denying equal opportunity based on gender violates Article 14 of our Constitution, right to equality, violates Article 15, prohibition of discrimination, and violates Article 16 as well, equality of opportunity in public employment of Indian Constitution. All these articles, it violates that. Also, women in armed forces are systematically discriminated according to whatever is in front of us right now. Now, first of all, before we understand about this issue, let us try to understand the role of women in armed forces and how it has evolved over a period of time. See, first of all, initially they were given early military roles. Women first joined through the military nursing services in 1888 and later as doctors in the Indian Armed Medical Corps in 1958 with regular commissions. After that, it started with the non-medical entry. In 1992, the Women's Special Entry Scheme opened non-combat roles in branches like education, law, logistics, and engineers for short service commission. That happened in 1990s. Then Army Act of 1950 restricted women's role, allowing them only in a notified branches such as Army Postal Services, Judge Advocate General's, JAG's department, Army Educational Corps, Ordnance Corps, and Service Corps. That's all. But eventually, the Short Service Commission, which was introduced, offering a 14-year tenure to women officers and marking a more formalized career structure for them. And then came the Permanent Commission milestone, where women were first granted permanent commission in 2008 in limited branches like JAG and AEC. Now, the Supreme Court of India in the 2020 Babita Puniya judgment mandated permanent commission in all arms where SSC exists, that is Short Service Commission exists, enabling women to hold command roles as well. And eventually in 2021, we saw the opening of NDA. The Supreme Court of India passed an interim order allowing women to take the National Defence Academy (NDA) examination, tearing down another major gender barrier in military training and entry in our country. And what is the current status? Current status is women serve as a fighter pilot in the Indian Air Force, they command warships in the Navy, and hold a permanent commission in various army branches as well. And this is what the current status of women in armed forces is there in our country. Now, let us understand what are the several issues faced by the women officers in our country in armed positions. See, first of all, there is limited career progression opportunities for them, and there is a lack of access to command roles and training courses, and there is an institutional bias in performance evaluation and promotions as well. Now, let's talk about the Permanent Commission and its significance. See, first of all, Permanent Commission in Army is critical for long-term career stability in the armed forces. It provides eligibility for promotions and leadership roles, pension and post-retirement benefits are given, and denial of Permanent Commission, it effectively restricts women officers to short-term services only, creating a structural inequality. And what has recently happened? The Supreme Court delivered a landmark judgment addressing discrimination faced by the Women Short Service Commission officers. They recognized the systemic bias. The court observed that a long-held presumption that women lacked long-term career prospects led to an uneven playing field in armed forces. This assumption adversely affected their chances of obtaining a permanent commission. And flaws were there in the evaluation system as well. And also the court found that the annual confidential reports (ACRs) of women officers were graded very, very casually. Women were often assigned average or lower scores than the male counterparts. Higher grades were informally reserved for male officers eligible for permanent commission, which I already told you in the beginning. And this resulted in a structural disadvantage when women were later evaluated for permanent commission. It created an unequal opportunity structure, and the court noted that the women officers were not encouraged for career enhancing courses also, and they were denied key appointments. They had weaker service profiles due to the systematic neglect, and this reflected an unequal opportunity structure within the armed forces itself. Which is why Honorable Supreme Court of India has given certain directions. Key directions. The first one is women officers who have met the eligibility criteria are entitled to permanent commission. The court held that the inclusion in the consideration zone is a constitutional obligation and not a discretion. And talking about the pensionary benefits, women officers denied permanent commission but released from the service will be deemed to have completed 20 years of service. They will receive a pension and consequential benefits. Now, in relation to no vacancy cap barrier also, the court rejected the argument of limited vacancies. It held that vacancy caps cannot override the need for equality, and the court provided relief across forces as well. The judgment extended reliefs to all the branches of the Indian Armed Forces, and this ensures uniform application across all the branches, and which is why this is a landmark judgment. Now let us understand some constitutional legal principles with respect to this. See, the judgment reinforces key constitutional values, which is equality before law, Article 14, which ensures equality before the law. Of course, gender-based discrimination and career progression violates this particular principle. Then equality and opportunity in public employment, Article 16, it guarantees equal opportunity in public employment, again, which I've already told you. And denial of permanent commission to women was found inconsistent with these provisions. And also the court emphasized that formal equality is insufficient. Structural disadvantages must be addressed to ensure real equality. Broader implications of this judgment are humongous. Institutional reforms will be there. The armed forces will need to reform evaluation systems like annual confidential reports. See, they need to ensure fair access to the training and promotions. Also, gender inclusion as well, which is why the judgment strengthens the case for gender inclusion of women in defense forces. Also, expansion of roles beyond traditional limitations, it also provides a precedential value. Now, this particular ruling, it builds upon earlier judgments. It sets a precedent for addressing systematic discrimination in institutions in our country. So answering the question that is India really equal for male and female or not, the answer as of now is no. But yes, through these judgments, through these progressive judgments, we are trying to reach towards that equality and trying to uphold Article 14 of our Indian Constitution. I hope you gained a new perspective from this session. Do let me know about your views in the comment section. All the very best and have a beautiful day. Thank you.